The river looked endless beneath cloudy morning skies. Energy gel stuffed awkwardly inside my pocket, while cold air settled quietly against my arms. Before kilometer one even began. Back then, 30 kilometers sounded unreal. Something stronger runners did. People with cleaner form, better discipline, different genetics, different minds than mine. But long runs teach you slowly through aching calves, through empty stretches of road, through conversations between quitting early and taking one more step anyway. Long runs build this confidence, not motivation alone, not race day adrenaline, but hours spent moving forward after comfort disappeared and excuses stopped sounding convincing inside my own head. Convenience stores became checkpoints, bridges became milestones. Traffic lights became tiny victories while sweat dried white across the edges of my shirt during slow stretches. I once thought I'd never survive. And somewhere past exhaustion, something changed quietly. The fear of distance softened, my breathing steadied, and difficult kilometers stopped feeling like enemies I needed to escape from. I expected confidence to arrive suddenly, but endurance builds differently through repetition, through lonely mornings, through staying outside longer than your doubt expected. Long runs built this confidence, one careful mile at a time, through sore legs, through humid weekends, through riverside paths where nobody saw me, becoming mentally stronger for someone. The long run is marathon training for someone. Proof they're changing for someone. The first time their body carried them farther than fear predicted. And none of those distances felt glamorous while happening. Most were messy, slow, quiet, and deeply important in ways numbers can't explain. The older I become, the more I trust effort that compounds gradually. Because confidence earned slowly usually survives longer than confidence borrowed from temporary emotion. Long runs built this confidence, I can feel that clearly now, because difficult days outside running don't scare me the same way anymore. After teaching my body how to continue through discomfort repeatedly, people notice finish lines because they photograph well. But the real transformation happened much earlier, during lonely kilometers where nobody clapped and turning back stayed possible. And maybe strength isn't aggression, maybe it's learning your body can continue far beyond the point your fear once called impossible. La, 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 la. Long runs built this confidence through every heavy step, through every unfinished sunrise, through every version of me that almost shortened the route but kept going forward anyway. Quiet river, steady stride, long road still running. Morning air felt lighter than it did last month. Watch tightened around my wrist, playlist already waiting, while sunrise spread slowly across the riverside path. I knew by the first stride something had changed.
Yeah, breathing settled earlier, legs carry rhythm, longer paces that once felt dangerous now live quietly inside my body like repetition.
And finally started answering back.
There's a strange
Joy in realizing the effort stayed somewhere inside you. After all those nights nobody noticed you building quietly. The days my records keep growing feel brighter somehow, not because numbers define me, but because improvement makes ordinary mornings feel connected to every difficult run before them.
old screenshots stayed buried inside my running app. Paces I once celebrated proudly, now looking smaller than I imagined possible. Back when stopping early felt normal.
And still I respect that version of me, the slower one, the struggling one, because without those awkward beginnings
think fast runners were different people, but progress turned out to be repetition.
Wet shoes, heavy breathing, and returning again tomorrow. The days my records keep growing carry a quiet satisfaction. Crosswalk reflections, cool down walks, sweat drying in night air, while my heartbeat whispers softly, you're changing. For someone growth is pace, for someone distance, for someone finally believing their limits weren't fixed forever. And none of those victories arrived dramatically. Most were built quietly through tired weekdays, lonely river paths and evenings where motivation arrived late.
The older I become, the more I admire
Consistent effort,
the kind that compounds slowly,
until one day
your old impossible pace becomes your warm-up speed.
the days my records keep growing make life feel wider, because every stronger version of myself was hidden inside ordinary runs.
I almost skipped months ago,
People celebrate race day because results become visible.
but the real transformation
Happened earlier,
inside routine,
inside discipline.
inside evenings no one remembers now.
And maybe confidence isn't something you think into existence.
Maybe it's earned gradually,
Through evidence,
stacked mile after mile,
inside your own body. The days my records keep growing feel deeply alive, not only because I'm faster, but because I can finally feel all those invisible efforts returning home to me through motion.
steady sunrise.
Faster footsteps, still growing. Trade deep, but air still clung to the sleeves of my jacket. Office conversations echoing faintly through tired headphones, while the apartment keys felt heavier than they should have in my hand tonight. Microwave dinner on touch, steam already disappearing. Notifications lighting the table one after another. But the running shoes near the doorway pulled my attention harder than the screen ever could. So I stepped into the night slowly, city noise softer now. Traffic reflecting across wet asphalt. Cool air slipping into my lungs while my heartbeat began untangling itself from the weight of the day. After long days, I run quietly, not chasing records, not chasing attention, just letting tired thoughts scatter across empty sidewalks, one steady breath at a time. Vending machine lights hum softly beneath the overpass, my pace slower than I planned earlier. But tonight wasn't about speed, it was about surviving gently through another crowded week. Each footstep sounded honest against the riverside pavement, the kind of honesty people rarely speak out loud. During busy mornings inside bright office buildings, I used to think running meant pushing limits, but some nights the road becomes shelter, a quiet place where pressure finally loosens its grip a little. After long days, I run quietly through streets almost asleep, through lingering stress, through thoughts I couldn't organize indoors, until breathing deeply again starts feeling possible somewhere around kilometer 5. For someone, the night run is recovery. For someone, emotional survival. For someone, the only hour where they belong fully to themselves again. None of those runs look dramatic from the outside, just another person jogging past traffic lights while carrying invisible things too heavy to explain properly to anyone else. The older I become, the more I admire people who protect their peace quietly, without posting everything, without turning healing into performance for strangers online. After long days, I run quietly because movement still helps, not perfectly, not instantly, but enough to keep difficult seasons from swallowing me whole. People celebrate loud victories because they're easy to notice, but quieter endurance often happens after midnight, beneath apartment lights, beneath stress, beneath ordinary adult intensity. Maybe it's recognizing when your spirit needs air and choosing movements before exhaustion hardens completely. After long days, I run quietly through unfinished thoughts, through tired breathing, through every version of myself that almost stayed inside tonight, but reached for the road instead. Late night traffic, cooling sweat, steady footsteps still running. Laptop lights are glowing from the apartment window. Unanswered messages waiting face down on the table, while my running shoes sat quietly near the door, like they already knew. The city felt overcrowded tonight. Too many thoughts, too many voices, too much pressure stacked inside my chest, with nowhere clean to place it down. So I stepped outside slowly, hood pulled tight, cool air against my face. Street lights stretching across wet pavement, while the first few breaths still sounded heavier than they should have. Just enough running to breathe again, not for pace, not for distance, just enough movement to quiet the noise inside a mind that forgot how to rest. The playlist kept looping softly through old wire earphones, traffic fading behind footsteps, river air cooling sweat, while tension slowly loosened its grip around my shoulders. Some nights the run becomes conversation, clean exhausted lungs and unexhausted life, both trying carefully to survive another week without collapsing completely. I used to think running meant pushing harder, but certain miles aren't about discipline, they're about recovery, about finding enough calm to continue tomorrow. Just enough running to breathe again became its own kind of therapy. Quiet roads, steady footsteps, small moments where my thoughts finally stopped fighting each other. Someone running is performance, for someone competition, for someone just the safest place to fall apart privately without explaining anything. And none of those reasons make the run smaller, because survival sometimes looks like movement through empty streets after emotionally heavy days. The older I become, the more I admire people who protect their peace before burnout arrives, people who notice their spirit thinning out and choose movement gently. Just enough running to breathe again still saves me sometimes, not dramatically, not instantly, but enough to remind me I'm still here beneath the stress. People celebrate intensity because intensity looks powerful, but softer endurance often keeps people alive longer. The kind that listens before the body breaks completely. And maybe healing doesn't always arrive through answers. Maybe sometimes it arrives quietly through wet sidewalk, steady breathing, and one more nighttime run. Just enough running to breathe again. That was all I needed tonight. Not perfection, not transformation, just about distance to feel my heartbeat return to something human again. Wet pavement, cool night air, steady every breath. Still running. The route was short tonight, barely enough to impress anyone online. Just damn sidewalks, yellow traffic lights, and tired legs, dragging through another weekday. Office badge still in my pocket, convenience store, coffee in hand, stretching beside vending machines while cars pass by without noticing how difficult it was to even start running tonight. There are runs people celebrate loudly, fast splits, race photos, perfect sunrise miles, but this wasn't one of them at all. Miles nobody would be impressed by, still carried effort, still carried stress, still carried the version of me, trying quietly not to disappear inside routine again. My breathing sounded rough against the empty riverside path, playlist repeating songs I barely heard anymore, while thoughts from work kept replaying themselves between footsteps. And still something about movement helped, even slowly, even awkwardly, even when progress felt invisible beneath sweat and ordinary exhaustion. I used to believe only big achievements mattered, but some nights survival itself felt worthy of recognition too. Miles nobody would be impressed by became the runs I needed most, not for records, not for validation, just to hear my own thoughts without the noise of the entire day. For someone, the run is emotional recovery. For someone, a break from pressure. For someone, the only hour where life feels slightly lighter to carry. And none of those reasons appear on fitness apps, because effort doesn't always translate cleanly into visible numbers people admire quickly. The older I become, the more I respect ordinary consistency, the kind built quietly after draining shifts, through weather, through difficult seasons. Miles nobody would be impressed by still change me slowly, because not every important distance looks extraordinary while you're living through it step by step. People notice dramatic transformations because they photograph well, but quieter endurance usually happens unnoticed beneath street lights, beneath stress, beneath unfinished adult lives. And maybe strength isn't always intensity. Maybe it's jogging softly through another exhausting evening instead of surrendering to stillness completely. Miles nobody would be impressed by became proof that I kept choosing movement through difficult years, through tired nights, through every version of myself that almost stayed home instead. Short distance, heavy heart, still finished. My shoes scrape softly against uneven pavement, breathing heavier than I wanted tonight, while cyclists passed easily through cold evening air without looking tired at all.
The running watch vibrated, another slower split screen glowing against sweat as frustration tightened quietly somewhere between my chest and the silence inside these headphones. It's easy to admire speed from far away, smooth strides, clean progress, people posting distances that make your own effort feel smaller than it is. Under every slow run, there's effort hidden beneath tired breathing, beneath heavy legs, beneath quiet self-doubt, because not every battle looks impressive from the outside while it's being fought.
Some nights I stopped at crosswalks longer than the signal required,
Pretending to fix my playlist while secretly trying to steady my breathing before moving again.
And still, the slower miles carry things. Stress from work, unfinished thoughts, pressure nobody noticed except the road beneath me. Every night I expect progress to feel more visible, but real endurance often hides itself inside ordinary people, quietly continuing through difficult weeks. Under every slow run, there's effort, even if nobody applauds it, even if the numbers disappoint you, because consistency sometimes sounds like tired footsteps returning home after another long day. For someone, the slow run is recovery. For someone, mental survival. For someone, proof they didn't stay home when life already felt too heavy to carry comfortably. And none of those reasons make the effort smaller, because unseen struggles still consume energy, even when the world can't measure them properly. The older I become, the more I respect people who continue imperfectly, without needing validation, without pretending. The progress always feels inspiring. Under every slow run, there's effort. I understand that deeply now, because some of the hardest seasons of my life were hidden beneath runs that looked ordinary to everyone else. People notice fast runners because speed catches attention, but slower miles often carry heavier stories, invisible weight moving quietly through city streets at night.
And maybe strength isn't dominating the road,
Maybe it's returning to it,
even after exhausting days
that emptied most of your spirit before you arrive. Under every slow run, there's effort, more than numbers can explain, because some people aren't only training legs, they're rebuilding themselves one difficult mile at a time.
Red traffic light,
Uneven breathing, still moving.
The traffic light changed twice before I caught my breath. Hoodie sleeve damp from wiping sweat away, while faster runners disappeared far beyond the next intersection. My running app kept speaking, split times I didn't like, numbers falling short of what I imagined when I first promised myself I would become stronger this year. It's easy to feel behind now, everyone moving visibly, posting victories, perfect training blocks, effort edited cleanly for small glowing screens. Every night, going slowly still counts, even when progress feels invisible, even when your breathing sounds heavier than everyone around you, because continuing imperfectly still moves you farther than quitting comfortably ever will. Some nights I stop beside vending machines, pretending to stretch while secretly wondering if I was built for distances like these at all.
but tired footsteps kept returning anyway, across familiar sidewalks, past closed restaurants, through humid air and half-finished self-belief again.
I expect the growth to feel more dramatic, but most change arrive quietly, through slower miles, through awkward beginnings, through not giving up on difficult weeks. Going slowly still counts, because endurance isn't always fast. Sometimes it looks like showing up exhausted, tying your shoes anyway, and jogging softly through another heavy evening. For someone, the slow pace is recovery. For someone, mental surgery. looks impressive, but slower progress teaches different things. Patience, humility, and how to stay gentle with your soul. And maybe strength isn't becoming untouchable. Maybe it's allowing yourself to grow honestly without rushing the person you're still becoming. Going slowly still counts through crowded nights, through self-doubt, through every quiet mile where part of you wanted to stop completely but kept moving forward anyway. Slow footsteps, steady heartbeat, still counting. Blue shoelaces, cold evening air, the playlist buffering slowly outside the station, while nervous footsteps echoed across pavement, still wet from earlier rain. Back then, 1 kilometer felt enormous, lungs burning quickly, watch checked too often, pretending traffic lights were planned rest stops instead of excuses. I thought progress belonged to naturally driven people, the ones already fast, already confident, already built for difficult things from the beginning. Small starts still matter, even awkward ones, even uncertain ones, because most meaningful journeys don't begin beautifully, they begin quietly, with someone choosing not to stay still. There were runs where I turned back early, walk more than expected, stood beneath vending machine lights, catching breath slowly while pretending to check my phone again. Still those smaller efforts stacked themselves somewhere inside my body, inside my thinking, inside the person I was becoming. I expected change to arrive dramatically, but real growth moved differently, through repeated evenings, through ordinary streets, through showing up again tomorrow. Small starts still matter, because confidence rarely arrives first. Most people begin unsure, wondering privately if they even belong on roads like this at all. For someone, the small start is fitness. For someone, mental survival. For someone, just needing 1 hour where breathing feels lighter than life did earlier. And none of those beginning look impressive immediately. Some arrive quietly through tired schedules, cheap running shoes, and playlists nobody else here. The older I become, the more I respect people willing to begin badly, without guarantees, without talent, without needing to look ready first. Small starts still matter, I know that now, because some of the strongest people I've ever met once stood exactly where I stood, breathing hard after 1 mile. People admire consistency after it becomes visible, but nobody sees the fragile beginning where doubt speaks louder than momentum. Every single night, and maybe courage isn't huge action, maybe it's tying your shoes while part of you still believes staying home would feel easier. Small starts still matter, even years later, because every long distance, every stronger version of yourself, every impossible dream once began with 1 uncomfortable first step. Quiet street, slow breathing, still starting. Sweat cooling slowly through the back of my shirt, crosswalk lights blinking across empty streets, while another unfinished chorus kept circling quietly inside tired lungs. Convenience store doors open, warm air brushing past me, sports drink in one hand, phone glowing in the other, as another thought arrived before exhaustion could erase it again. So I pressed record softly, breathing still uneven, half-written lyrics, broken melodies, traffic noise between sentences, like the city itself was listening for a moment. Voice memos full of maybe someday, say between long runs, late shifts, and restless nights, tiny future versions of myself speaking through static, refusing to fade completely. Some recording stops, suddenly, footsteps crossing intersections, train sounds overhead, wind cutting through riverside paths, moments where doubt sat beside me, quiet enough to hear my heart beat clearly. Others carry strange honesty, the kind fatigue creates where ambition loses performance and turns into something simpler, more human, more difficult to abandon. I used to think dreams arrive fully formed, blood enough to change everything, but most survive differently inside exhausted breathing. After kilometer 7, walking home alone, voice memos full of maybe someday became proof that part of me stayed moving, even when progress slowed, even when practical life tried reducing every dream into something safer. For someone, the recording becomes a song. For someone, a marathon goal. For someone, just evidence their inner world didn't go silent yet. And none of those recordings sound polished. Some carry vending machine noise, wet asphalt footsteps passing, bicycles are tired breathing through old wired earphones. The older I become, the more I admire people who continue creating after draining days without waiting to feel fully recovered before trying again. Voice memos full of maybe someday still glow inside my pocket. Unfinished hooks, fragile plans, small surviving sparks from every exhausted version of me that kept running anyway. People celebrate finished work because completion feels clean, but unfinished recordings carry fingerprints of real life, heavy breathing, background traffic, and hope interrupted halfway through. And maybe creativity isn't confidence at all. Maybe it's pressing record anyway while standing by these streetlights, wondering if this dream still has distance left. Voice memos full of maybe someday. I replay them after long runs sometime, not because they sound perfect, but because hidden inside those rough recordings, I still hear someone chasing tomorrow, one tired step at a time. Wet pavement, low battery, quiet heartbeat, still recording. See, blue light on my fave, thumbs scrolling slowly through titles I barely remember writing, half asleep weeks ago. Fragments everywhere, soul names, video concepts, sentences without endings. Small thoughts captured quickly before exhaustion pulled me under again. I used to believe real dreams looked organized, clear plans, confident timing, finished projects neatly arranged for people to admire. Notes app full of unfinished ideas, that's what my life looked like lately. Half-built visions, late night promises, tiny sparks saved before disappearing into another exhausting week. Some notes felt embarrassing, too ambitious, too hopeful, written by versions of me who still believed energy would return faster than reality allowed. And still I never deleted them, because something about those unfinished thoughts felt more honest than pretending. I stopped wanting more from life. I expected passion to arrive fully formed, but most meaningful things began fragmented, messy, unfinished, and quietly persistent. Notes app full of unfinished ideas became proof that part of me was still creating internally, even during seasons where survival consumed most of my energy. For someone, the unfinished ideas music. For someone, a business. For someone, a different future they still revisit secretly before sleeping. And none of those unfinished things mean failure. Some dreams simply spend years waiting for a version of you strong enough to carry them further. The older I become, the more I respect people who keep imagining after difficult days, without guarantees, without momentum, without visible progress. Notes app full of finished ideas still glow softly at night, quiet evidence that exhaustion never fully erased the part People admire finished products because they feel complete, but unfinished ideas often contain the purest version of hope before the world teaches caution again. And maybe creativity isn't constant productivity. Maybe it's refusing to let your inner world go silent completely during difficult years. Notes app full of unfinished IP. I carry them all still. Unfinished songs, unfinished plans, unfinished versions of myself, waiting patiently for their next beginning. Dim phone screen, restless heartbeat, still saving drafts. 2 a.m. kitchen light, half-drunk coffee, going cold, microwave clock blinking like it's waiting for someone to finally sleep. Work shoes left crooked near the apartment door, phone battery at 3%, group chats muted while another unfinished idea stays awake inside my head. There was a time I thought dreams belonged to energetic people, the loud ones, the fearless ones who never look tired in public. Exhausted hearts still glow too, even after long shifts, empty trains, missed weekends and nights spent questioning whether any of this still makes sense. The convenience store lights felt strangely comforting after late runs through humid streets, breathing hard under vending machine glow at midnight. Some dreams survive in tiny place now, inside notes apps, inside voice memos, inside thoughts recorded quietly before sleep wins. I expected passion to stay explosive, but real life turned it into embers, small enough to fit inside exhausted people without disappearing. Exhausted hearts still glow too, through unread messages, through overtime schedules, through mornings where the mirror reflects someone trying hard not to disappear emotionally. For someone, fatigue comes from parenting. For someone, from survival jobs. For someone, from carrying invisible pressure through years without pause. Certain roads, certain lonely walks home keep reopening something alive inside the chest. The older I become, the more I respect people who continue creating after draining days without waiting to feel fully restored before dreaming again. Exhausted hearts still glow too, not brightly, not constantly, but enough to light another step through another difficult morning again. People admire fire because fire looks powerful, but embers survive longer, quietly holding heat through dark hours. When everything else already burned out, and maybe hope isn't the explosion, maybe it's the last warm thing you protect carefully inside yourself after exhausting years. Exhausted hearts still glow too, I know that now, because some nights the only thing still alive in me was one unfinished dream, refusing to go dark completely. Late night silence, tiny red lights still glowing. The dream no longer shouted, it sat quietly now, like an old photograph creased at the corners, carried through too many moves to throw away easily. There was a time I chased it loudly, mistaking urgency for devotion, believing speed alone could force life to open faster. But years have a way of sanding ambition down, removing performance, removing noise, until only the necessary parts remain, breathing underneath. Hope that age gracefully didn't burn from the now, less like escape, more like direction, less like proving worth, more like protecting something human inside myself. And somehow that quieter hope feels harder to destroy, because it no longer depends on excitement to keep existing every day. I used to admire reckless passion, the kind that explodes beautifully without fear. Now I admire endurance that survives ordinary life without applause. Hope that aged gracefully, learned how to move slowly through deadlines, through heartbreak, through mornings where exhaustion arrived first and purpose came later. For someone, hope becomes smaller. For someone, more sacred. For someone, less visible to the world, but impossible to betray completely. And none of those changes mean the dream weakens. Sometimes quiet persistence contains more courage than loud certainty ever could. The longer I live, the more I respect people who carry hope carefully, not dramatically, not naively, but with enough tenderness to keep it breathing. Hope that aged gracefully, stay beside me through unfinished years, through practical decisions, through every season that tried to convince me to become emotionally smaller. People celebrate beginnings because beginnings sparkle, but lasting hope usually looks weathered, softened by reality, yet somehow still standing upright. And maybe wisdom isn't abandoning the dream, maybe it's learning how to hold it gently without crushing it with impossible expectations. Hope that aged gracefully became less dramatic, but more true, like a quiet light left on late at night for the version of me still trying to find the way home. Worn out hope, steady glow, still warm. There were dreams that once burned loudly, restless and patient, too bright to imagine fading with time. Back then I thought passion would always feel explosive, that purpose would arrive clearly and remain untouched
Through adulthood,
but years changed everything, the pace of life, the shape of exhaustion, the weight of responsibility, and even the way hope learned to speak inside me. Some dreams grow older with you, they don't disappear, they mature quietly through difficult seasons, through ordinary years, through every version of yourself that almost let them go. Certain ambitions soften, not because they died, but because life taught them patience, taught them survival inside crowded schedules and tired evenings.
and strangely those older dreams feel more honest now, less about proving something.
More about becoming someone I can live beside peacefully.
I expected dreams to demand everything, but some survive differently, through small efforts,
Through returning quietly,
through keeping one fragile light alive inside routine.
some dreams grow older with you, learning how to breathe inside adult life, inside unfinished goals,
Inside mornings where motivation arrives slowly, but still arrives.
For someone, the dream becomes smaller. For someone,
More personal,
for someone,
less visible to the world, but more necessary to the soul.
and none of those changes mean failure.
Sometimes aging
Reveals what mattered most.
after ego finally grows quieter with time.
The older I become, the more I
pretending life is easy.
Without pretending fear disappears with age. Some dreams grow older with you, through jobs, through heartbreak, through changing priorities, through years
That asked you repeatedly to become practical instead.
people celebrate young ambition loudly, but older dreams carry something deeper.
A quieter form of devotion that survived disappointment.
Without turning bitter.
And maybe maturity
Isn't abandoning the dream.
maybe it's learning
How to love it differently.
with steadier hands and softer expectations.
Some dreams grow older with you, and maybe that's beautiful.
Because after all these years, they still wake something alive
Inside your tired heart,
on ordinary mornings again.
older dream, oh, older soul, still breathing. There was a time I thought growing older meant becoming realistic, learning which dreams were temporary and which parts of yourself needed to disappear quietly.
So I organize my life into reasonable shapes, steady work, careful answers, predictable routines that look mature enough from the outside.
And still certain nights something restless remained, a small unfinished voice asking questions I pretended not to hear anymore. I never fully outgrew the dream, even after long years, even after disappointment. Something inside me kept reaching quietly toward a future I couldn't completely abandon.
The dream changed shape over time, less dramatic, less loud, but strangely deeper than when I was young and fearless.
Now it survives differently, through tired mornings, through responsibilities, through moments where hope arrives softly instead of all at once.
I used to think passion stayed intense forever, but maybe real dreams learn how to breathe slowly inside ordinary adult life without demanding attention every day. I never fully outgrew the dream, stayed beside me through missed chances, through self-doubt, through seasons where survival alone felt difficult enough. For someone, the dream is creative work. For someone, freedom. For someone, simply becoming the person they imagined once before fear became practical. And none of those dreams look impressive all the time. Most survive privately, hidden behind schedules, behind bills, behind polite conversations about realistic futures. The older I become, the more I respect people who continue hoping carefully without pretending certainty exists, without pretending they aren't afraid anymore. I never fully outgrew the dream, and maybe that saved something inside me, something life tried very hard to make smaller over the years. People often describe maturity as letting go, but maybe maturity is learning which parts of yourself deserve protection, even when they stop looking practical. And maybe some dreams remain unfinished intentionally, not because we failed, but because they continue giving direction to who we are becoming. I never fully outgrew the dream. Now I understand why it was never childish to want more deeply than the world felt comfortable with. Older voice, same horizon, still reaching. There were dreams I thought adulthood would quietly remove, like old posters taken down carefully from childhood walls. Over time, instead they
was supposed to outgrow them. Some dreams became quieter, not weaker, just more private. Spoken carefully inside conversations where practicality always sounded wiser. And still certain nights, something inside me looked toward the future with the same restless feeling I carried when I was younger and naive enough to believe freely. I expected maturity to replace ambition, but growing older only changed the way dreams learn to survive inside me. Unfinished dreams into adulthood continued beside ordinary life, through commutes, through overtime, through mornings where hope arrived quietly before the alarm. For someone, the unfinished dream is art. For someone, a different career. For someone, simply becoming someone they can respect before life ends. And none of those dreams completely disappear. They wait patiently beneath practical decisions, beneath survival, beneath years spent being responsible. The older I become, the more I admire people who protect hope gently without pretending they aren't tired, without pretending they still feel young. Unfinished dreams into adulthood still shape my decisions now. Not loudly, not recklessly, just enough to keep part of my spirit awake. People often speak as if adulthood means closure, but sometimes maturity is learning how to carry unfinished dreams without shame. And maybe growing older isn't abandoning hope. Maybe it's loving it differently, more carefully, more quietly, but more honestly than before. Unfinished dreams into adulthood became part of my identity, not because I achieved them, but because I never allowed the world to completely remove them from my heart. Older hands, same dream, still alive. The future stayed unclear longer than expected. Days passed quietly without obvious signs that any of this was becoming something real.
Bills still arrive, work still consumed energy. People still ask careful questions about backup plans and realistic choices. For someone my age,
I used to believe effort created certainty, that enough persistence would eventually reveal a visible path to all this uncertainty.
ahead of me, zero guarantees, unfinished dreams, that's the truth of it. No clear outcome, no promised reward, just something inside me still refusing to fully let go.
Some nights I look successful enough while privately wondering how much longer hope could survive inside routines that drained everything.
And still small attempts continued, late night ideas, unfinished projects, quiet effort hidden behind ordinary conversations.
I expected dreams to feel exciting forever, but many survive through exhaustion, through repetition, through difficult years without visible progress.
Zero guarantees, unfinished dreams still shape my morning,
Still change my decisions
still give direction
to parts of me
that dream is creative freedom.
For someone, financial escape. For someone,
Simply proving their younger self
wasn't foolish for believing.
None of those dreams arrive cleanly. Most are built quietly.
Between responsibilities,
Between setbacks,
between moments of private doubt.
the older I become, the more I respect people who continue carefully.
Without guarantees, without recognition,
Without certainty,
that anyone will notice.
zero guarantees. Unfinished dreams became their own kind
Of endurance,
Not glamorous,
not inspiration every day.
just deeply human.
And difficult to abandon,
People admire results,
because results look solid,
but most meaningful dreams
exist unfinished.
for years. While someone quietly chooses,
And again and again.
and maybe courage isn't confidence at all.
Maybe it's investing effort into uncertain futures.
Without proof,
They'll ever return anything back. Zero guarantees.
zero guarantees. Unfinished dreams still move beside me now. Through ordinary
Through
mornings
difficult seasons, through every version of myself
that nearly gave up.
but answered the dream again. Unclear future, steady heartbeat, still trying. Morning train, same station sounds, people moving, half awake, coffee cooling slowly.
Beside unread messages,
And unfinished sleep. Nothing about the day looked remarkable. Meetings, traffic lights, laundry waiting at home. The quiet repetition of adult life. I used to imagine dreams arriving loudly through breakthrough moments, through sudden change.
but real life moved differently than that.
Ordinary days, unfinished dreams, it's where I live now.
Between responsibility and quiet ambition, between exhaustion and the small voice that still says continue.
Some dreams survive strangely, not through confidence, but through refusal, the inability to fully abandon what once made your chest feel alive.
And even after long days, something still remains awake late at night, searching quietly for another version of the future.
I expected purpose to feel clearer, more dramatic, more certain, but often it feels like
Protecting a fragile light inside routine.
ordinary days, unfinished dreams still move beside me. Through crowded mornings, through tired evenings,
Through every moment, life asks me to become practical.
for someone, the dream is creative freedom. For someone, a better home.